The story is called Odds and Ends. Odds and ends. Odds and ends means useless things, not useful. The things that you throw away. Okay, odds and ends. Junk, trash. Okay. いきます。Okay. Once upon a time, a long time ago, 300, 400 years ago, there was a woman. There was a woman, and oh my gosh, she was very, very pretty. She was a pretty woman. And not only she was pretty, but she was also very rich. She was a rich woman, and she was a pretty woman. Now, there was a man, and this man really, really liked her because she was pretty and she's rich. He wooed her. Wooed means, please marry me. I love you. I would like to get romantically related to you. Okay, so he wooed her. Okay. Now, but what he didn't know was that she was a lazy woman. She was a pretty woman, and she was a rich woman, but she was a lazy woman. She was idle. Idle means lazy. She was a lazy woman. Not only she was idle, she was lazy, she was also very careless. Okay? She was lazy and she was careless. She was negligent. Negligent. She had these characteristics, personalities, that she was pretty, but she was not very hardworking, industrious, but she was very careless. But she was pretty, and so he liked her, and he wooed her. Okay? Now, those days, what the girls did was at home was that they spin. Okay? Span is the past tense, or the dictionary says this could be a past tense. But anyway, spin means, okay, so she's, whatever they did, they span at the spinning wheel. Yeah. Anyway, so when she spun, sometimes the thread, or they call it flax. I don't know. Flax must be something that is something, some kind of a material that becomes thread. Okay, thread is, this is a needle. Okay, this is a needle, and this is a thread. Yeah, thread. When you want to make something, you have a thread, and you put the threads. You have a needle, and you put the thread to the eye of the needle, and you saw. Yeah, you saw. You know what I mean? Sewing. Okay, so this is a thread, and this is a needle. And flax is something that you make thread out of. Okay. Anyway, that's not important. But anyway, when she was working, spinning, sometimes the flax, this material gets fastened up. Like it's for example, yeah. This is a needle, like I said. This is the eye of the needle, yeah. And when we are working, sometimes this thread gets fastened up. For some reason they get together and they tangled up. Yeah, and this is called, this part is called a knot. Okay, so when she had a knot, there are two things we can do. One is, I do that too, just cut this with a scissor, cut this part and throw this part away and use a new clean straight thread. And the other thing that you can do is you can carefully untangle it, unfasten it. It takes time, it takes patience, but you can do, you take the time and the patience and you untangle, unfasten, and make it straight so you can use this part, okay? Well, anyway, this girl is so negligent, means careless, and she's so idle, very lazy. When she had some nuts like this, she would just, she would cut it off, and then this part, she just throw it away. And so, when she span, she cut many flax, and then she threw them all away onto the floor. And so when she was working at the spinning wheel, she had so much useless thrown away flax on the ground. Now, so there was a whole heap of it. Now, this girl, because she was a rich woman, she had a helper. Yeah, she had a helper at home. A helper means a servant. A servant used to clean her room and make her tea and wash her clothes and do all sorts of housework, yeah? There was a servant girl. There was this servant girl. It's a servant girl. Now, this servant girl might not have been pretty as this girl was. I don't know. But the servant girl was not maybe pretty and maybe, of course, not rich. But she was not idle. She was industrious. She worked hard. She was an industrious girl. And she was not negligent. She was a careful girl. And she took time. And she was patient. And so what she did was that when this girl threw away all sorts of, beautiful colored flax, the material that she made thread out of, yeah, flax. She gathered them all, and she washed it very carefully. I don't know how they washed it, but they washed it. And she untangled it, unfastened the nuts, and she made a beautiful dress out of it. Okay? Now, one day, this man and this girl, now she is going to be a bride, yeah? Because she's going to get married. And he is going to be a bridegroom. So the future bride and future bridegroom on the wedding day, they were walking. I don't know where they're walking, but they were walking together. Okay? And I'm just guessing, but they were walking together, and they saw this girl was in the park. This girl was in the park with another man, okay? And this girl was wearing a beautiful dress. And she was dancing. She was dancing with a man very merrily, happily, joyfully. Merry Christmas. Yeah, merry means happily, happy and joyfully. And so she was dancing merrily, and she was jumping around. Da, 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 da. She was jumping and happy, dancing in the park. These two saw this couple, and this woman began to laugh. She began to laugh. So the future bridegroom or future husband, bridegroom asked her, "Why are you laughing? What do you mean? What are you doing? Why are you laughing? Who are you laughing at? What are you laughing at? What are you laughing about?" He asked her. And then she said, "Look at that girl. That's my servant girl. Look at that dress. You know what she made that dress out of? She made that dress out of my odds and ends." Odds and ends means useless things. The thing that I threw away. Trash, garbage. She said, this girl, made a dress out of my odds and ends. And she thinks she's pretty. And she's dancing. Ha ha ha, she said. Now, this man heard this, and he said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Well, she said, when I'm working, I have this flax that gets all tangled up, and I don't want to work with it, and so I just cut the thread or the flax and throw them away. And then this girl just gathered them all together, and she washes it and she untangles it, and then she made a dress out of it, my stuff that I threw away." She laughed. The man took notice of it. He thought about it. And it was the day before their wedding. That was the eve of the wedding. But he said to her, it was, did I tell you that? On the eve of, this was the night of, the night before their wedding. On the eve of their wedding. On the eve of their wedding means the night before their wedding day. He said to her, "Just a second. Maybe I do not want to marry you because it seems that you are idle and you are negligent. I may not want to marry a woman who is idle and negligent." So he said goodbye to her. He gave her up. She said goodbye to her. He said goodbye to her. And he decided to marry the servant woman. He chose the servant woman as his wife. And the next day, instead of this rich girl, the man married the servant girl. The end.